This heat too.
I know, and it's going to get hotter this week. We kind of go back and forth with some rain and some cooler kind of feeling like weather like we got this weekend. And then we'll go to a hotter, drier kind of setup for most of this work week. Although tomorrow we do have a chance for a few showers. Our radar is very quiet now. Our rainfall totals today, again, we're up to 2 inches at Gulfport, but most of southeast Louisiana we're somewhere in the ½ inch to maybe inch or so range at the most. And then of course we did get up to an inch or two of rain yesterday as well. So overall, pretty rainy weekend for us to start off the month of June. It's 79 right now in New Orleans. We have mostly 70s out there, and tonight we are expecting any rain already has ended really and not too warm. Our temperatures north and south of Lake Pontchartrain will be in the 70s for early tomorrow. I have highs tomorrow upper 80s. This weekend hasn't been quite so hot. Now yesterday the airport did touch 91 before we got all those showers and storms. But today we stayed in the middle 80s, so might have felt pretty nice to you outside if you did get out there when it wasn't raining. We do expect a couple of storms tomorrow. I have about a 30% chance of rain overall, and you can see those temperatures taking off into the upper 80s during the day, and then for the evening we'll be dropping back through the 80s. Let me show you precision cast. Tomorrow again, not quite as much moisture, not as much driving these showers and storms. This is by noon, a few showers popping up. This is by 3 and 4 p.m. We're starting to see a few showers, couple downpours here and there, but I don't think it'll last very long. If we do see the rain, they'll kind of pop up and then perhaps fall apart pretty fast. And then for the evening, as we lose daytime heating, we will be back to a quieter kind of forecast. Now our upper pattern this week does start to shift, so this is what we're expecting. First of all, a trough of low pressure sags into the northeast U.S., and as that moves off to the east, we start to see this high expanding over us from the west. So we are expecting, of course, with the high pressure, that usually brings us that hotter, drier kind of feel, and so that's what we're expecting for most of this week. You can see our chance of rain really looks highest tomorrow, and then it drops off to maybe 10% the rest of the week. Now on Thursday into Friday, a surface front will drop in. I don't think it'll do very much for our forecast to change things, aside from maybe just a slight chance for a couple of showers or storms Friday and Saturday. And I think our winds will shift from the south to the north with that front. And that's about it. Wish I could say it was bringing some cooler weather or some at least less humid weather. We might see that for the weekend, but lately with these fronts moving in, the models have been hinting a week out that we'll get a little less humid, and it hasn't really been the case over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed. We're 2 days into hurricane season, so talking about the tropics really quickly, it looks like there's a lot kind of happening, but there's actually no development expected, nothing really looking like it's going to spin up or try to develop this week. We know, of course, heading into this season, the numbers are expected to be really high for activity as far as named storms and hurricanes and major hurricanes go, much higher than average, for example, with the NOAA forecast. However, we may see that kick in later in the season. We always see that, or we usually see that anyway, because we have the big rise in activity in late August and September, and then winding down in October. But we do have that warmer than average water, near record water temperatures in the central and eastern Atlantic. And the El Nino pattern that we have going is really transitioning right now to neutral, and then it will continue on to La Nina, kind of swinging the other way. Sometime between June and August, that should start. So that does put us in the La Nina pattern at the peak of the season. So it'll be interesting to see. It could be a kind of slow start to the season, and then we get a lot of storms later. Again, can't say for sure, but that La Nina, of course, brings less shear and more storms. Just in case you're curious, some of these forecasts go into a lot more detail. This is from Colorado State. I highlighted some of the most active landfalling hurricane states that they have. They actually have a chance of a hurricane making landfall at Florida, and then Louisiana and North Carolina and Texas, all pretty high chances. And for a major hurricane, they changed it a little. Florida, very high chance, and then Texas, and then Louisiana. Don't get too caught up, of course, in all these percentages. The point really is, of course, that we only need one hurricane to bring a lot of effects to our area. So always be prepared. Now's a good time, of course, before we start to see anything ramp up. And there are your hurricane season names, not getting into those just yet. 7-day forecast, temperatures getting into the lower 90s, probably feeling like about 100. That hotter, slightly drier summertime kind of June pattern definitely settling in this week.